The Conservatives are just better at lying and pushing fantasy on people. By voting for the Conservative Party, you are supporting outright the existence of a social hierarchy where the people at the bottom, which likely includes yourself, have to have shit lives. Isn't it crazy that in a supposed democracy, the UK's Prime Minister will soon be decided by just about 200,000 people? For those who don't know, Boris Johnson is still Prime Minister. He's not been seen since the no confidence vote because he doesn't give a shit anymore. He's a lame duck, so he's not doing his job. He's collecting the paycheck. He's doing his parties. That's it. That's him now. That's him until around September time. Is it September, or has it been moved further back than that? It's later, isn't it? I think people are saying the autumn now. But either way, the new leader of the Conservative Party, and therefore the new Prime Minister, because this system is fucking backwards, will be decided by about 200,000 people, the Conservative Party members. And it's down to Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, which is like choosing to get kicked in the balls and getting a spike up the arse. Well, PoliticsJoe, good channel actually, it's quite funny. I decided to put out a video filmed in Eastbourne. Meet the normal Tories choosing the next Prime Minister. Once again, just want to highlight the UK has 66 million people in it, and the Prime Minister is going to be decided by just 200,000 of them. Yay. That's mental, isn't it? It's literally less than 1%. Like, we make jokes about the top 1%, and then here they are fucking voting. Less than 1% voting for the Prime Minister. It's mental. But anyway, that's the hand we're being dealt. Let's have a look, see, maybe, at what these Tory members are saying. I'm sure it'll be perfectly balanced and not at all mental.
What do you think people don't understand about being a Tory?
That most people are normal. I don't object to the fact he went to Winchester.
Sorry, I just want to disagree. Most Tories are not normal. If you're a Tory member, there's something wrong with you, like 100%. But
my problem is that he was head boy.
What does being a Conservative mean to you?
Freedom, opportunity, the ability to...
freedom and opportunity. So the Conservative Party have habitually removed the right to protest over recent years. Freedom! Opportunity. They are currently dismantling the education system, preventing poor people from going to university. Like, if this is Conservative values, you shouldn't be voting Conservative. It's quite simple, to be honest.
To hang on to your own money and do your own thing.
What does that mean, hang on to your own money and do your own thing? Whose own money? Like, are you saying the energy companies that have made several billion over the last couple of years while receiving taxpayer money and not passing that saving on to the taxpayer, are you saying that's their own money? Because that's stolen money, essentially. Like, once again, the Conservative sort of ideology just doesn't make sense. It's inconsistent.
Rather than the socialist left-wing dogma that we're being thrust down our throats all the time.
So Conservative have been in power for 12 years. The current opposition has, we'll say, purged the left wing and the socialists from their ranks. And they can't even stand up alongside trade unions anymore. So I don't know where this socialism gets shoved down people's faces or throats even comes from, because it's clearly not the reality. It's always Britain and Americans talking about socialism when socialism doesn't really exist in government in either places. It's crazy. Once again, it's just Conservative victim mentality though, isn't it?
How long have you been a member for?
Look at him. Ancient. Many years.
Well, I'm 90, so you can...
There you go.
Yes.
You don't look a day over...
Well, there you are. We won't argue about that.
And you get to be head boy by being sucking up to the headmaster, sucking up to the establishment.
I'm glad he said sucking up to the headmaster.
Not challenging anything.
I've Certainly, since I retired in '86 from the army, I have been a member of the Conservative Party.
What does being a Conservative mean to you?
Well, having to
Being
deal
a
with all
tosspot.
that quite often.
I've been a Conservative for a long time. I've always seen them as an anti-establishment party.
Who specifically do you mean by
Who? Like, literally, it's not, though. How are the Conservatives anti-establishment? Conservatism is literally status quo. It's the establishment. You can't say you're anti-establishment when your entire highest ranking people in the Conservative Party comes from private school. Like, it's mental. Like, what? It's like this. It's like this mental illness Conservatives have, where they think they're an action hero. Kind of. It's mental. It's like, oh, I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel. Don't protest. No, don't be protesting. Don't go on strike. I'm a rebel, me. Fucking idiots, man.
the establishment?
I guess it's the left liberal establishment which runs the media, which runs the universities.
Once again, 12 years, Conservatives been in power. Prior to that, it was Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. Once again, where is the left wing in this scenario? How does the left wing have any power?
Which runs Whitehall.
Well, for me, it's about keeping one eye on the past and our heritage and preserving our institutions, but also looking forward. If you look back over history, Conservative governments have actually been some of the most radical when it comes to policy.
What would you
No, bullshit. So, there's some confusion about what conservatism is and what a conservative is. A conservative, I mean, the key word's conserve. You are trying to maintain status quo or return to traditional values. It's all based on, this has worked, let's keep it, let's conserve it. The opposite of that is progressivism, which people call left-wing. And there are certain left-wing factions that aren't progressive, I will say. But progressivism, which can exist on the right wing as well, by the way, progressivism is, no, we need to change things. We need new ideas. We need to progress. We need to make it better. So that's the difference. Conservatism is keeping what we have. Progressivism is changing what we have and moving to something new. That's very basic. There's obviously nuances there, but to say conservatism without looking forward, it literally isn't. That's progressivism you're talking about. And, I mean, find a single Conservative MP at the moment who's pushing any ideas that involves moving forward in anything. You're currently outraged that pronouns are being used. That's mental. Like, I won't even go into that because I'm sure it'll be brought up, but...
What would you say is the main issue facing the United Kingdom right now?
Getting a new member into place.
Most Tories, particularly now, are just normal people going about their everyday business, trying to help better the country.
I'm sorry, I've had an age where I don't really care about saving the planet that much.
Sorry, I was trying to pick and choose when I come in there, and I mean, there's several things I wanted to point out there. I don't know how they turned Paul Phoenix into a Conservative, but they've managed to do it. But fucking hell, I need to go back. I need to go back to that.
It's trying to help better the country.
I fucking hate him, by the way. I'd fight him.
I'm sorry, I've had an age where I don't really care about saving the planet that much.
I am at an age, right, where I don't care about saving the planet. What the fuck is that? Right there, that's conservatism for you. Like, that's the current conservative movement in the UK and America. They don't give a fuck. And this is why no one under the age of, 50 should be voting Conservative, because they don't give a fuck about you. They are literally purposely making the world worse because they know they're not going to deal with it. They're leaving it for you to deal with. So why give them that opportunity? You know, I don't want to say people over a certain age shouldn't vote, but I think it's becoming very clear that the majority of people over a certain age have brain rot. That's not fair. It's not fair at all for me to say that. It's true, though.
There's a protest going by saying Tories, 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 out. What would you, if you were to sit down with one of them and explain to them, what do you think you could find common ground with them?
Well, yes, because most of my friends are not Conservative, and a lot of them have said if I ever stood for election, that not only vote for me, but campaign for me. So
I like the fact that Liz Truss was loyal to Boris Johnson. I was a huge Boris Johnson fan.
Would you
Anyone who says they're a Boris Johnson fan needs to have the nuts removed. There's just a level of incompetence just in life to looking at someone like Boris Johnson and go, oh yeah, he did a good job, didn't he? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, oh, it's insane to me. Like, I don't know why anyone fools themselves into thinking Boris Johnson did anything other than an incompetent job at this point. It's mental. Or that he's only took this office because he has this power fantasy of being king of the world, and it was the closest he could get. And he's used the office to profiteer and to give himself extra status. Like, that's literally all he's done while in power. Like, he's currently not doing his job, but charging the taxpayer for his renovations and having parties at Chequers and stuff like that. He's literally done this job, being the Prime Minister, not because of a public responsibility, but because of the status attached to it. And that's the pattern running through all his career. Anyone who's ever worked with Boris Johnson turns around and says, yeah, he's a fucking incompetent arsehole, and he has no business doing this job. Like, it's been the recurring theme throughout its entire fucking life. Why are there still cunts like this cunt here, that still haven't got the memo? Like, what the fuck?
prefer Boris Johnson to have stayed on as Prime Minister?
Yes, Liz hopefully is going to tackle the woke tendencies.
Here we go. Fuck it. I knew this would come up. Culture war bullshit. They can't fight anymore. Conservatives can't fight on economy anymore because they've fucked that up over the last 12 years. So the only thing they have now is culture war bullshit. They go, yeah, we fucked up the economy and we're doing fuck all about it. And every single person in this country, other than the ultra rich, are going to suffer for it. But if you vote someone other than us, all this scary stuff will happen. Like, that's all they've got. Like, they've got nothing else.
Which really is the major fight of our times.
Culture war
what would
bullshit.
you define wokeism as?
Well, I think it's the
That's an honest answer. I think it's. I'll tell you what it means for Conservatives. It means, stuff I don't like. That's all it means. Woke is stuff I don't like, but I know if I said outright I don't like black people getting similar rights to white people, I don't like women having career opportunities. I know if they actually say that, people go, oh wait, no, I don't actually agree with that. So all they do is boil it down to just, woke. Oh, it's woke, isn't it? And everyone goes, yeah, it's woke. I don't like woke stuff. Like, yeah, like woke stuff, like using pronouns and stuff. Yeah, and like women voting. What? No. I'm okay with women voting. Oh, but it's woke, isn't it? It's woke. Oh yeah, I don't like woke. I don't like woke. You don't like woke. That's literally all it is. Like once again, Tories have brain rot.
focus on identity politics,
like what you just fucking did,
which has really helped destroy the Labour Party.
Do you think he was right to resign?
I think he was right to apologise. I think his resignation was forced upon him. I think he...
once again, Boris Johnson, the most coddled Prime Minister in history. Incompetency after incompetency, broken several laws, but every single time along the way, he's never been held accountable by his own party. It's always just, leave him alone, he's trying to do his best. Oh, he had COVID, for a bit. Oh, yeah, him and the rest of the fucking country. I don't know what it is anymore. They're like children. Like, that's the only thing I can explain. They're like children, and you start going like, Mr. Tumble is not like very funny, and they're going, he is. He is though. He's funny. I like it when he runs around, and I don't know what Mr. Tumble does, to be honest, but the Tories are the political party for the juvenile. That's the only way I can say it. It's for man boys. Well, the vast majority are man boys. Then there's the small amount at the top of the party that know very well what they're doing, and they know they're manipulating other people into voting for them, but they get the benefit of it. Like Rees Mogg is not dumb enough to fall for this himself, but he knows if he says it enough time, people will believe it, and he cashes in on that. He gets money from that. So he's an absolute sociopath because he doesn't give a fuck about the consequences of his actions. He just cares about him profiting from it. Same with Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's mainly an act. He's doing it for the status. As long as he says certain things, cunts like this guy will believe him and will vote with him, even though it fucks most of the country up.
He could have stayed on if his parliamentary colleagues gave him benefit of the doubt and supported him more.
I think it's fair to say they gave him a fair amount of benefit of the doubt over the course of his premiership. Do you think they ran out of benefits of the doubt?
I think Boris definitely made some mistakes and he apologised for those.
So, Conservatives like to consider themselves the party of the law and order, yet they do shit like this where when their guy breaks the law, or their guy does something really fucking corrupt, they go, oh, it doesn't matter though, does it? Oh, it's okay when he does it. Like, Boris Johnson broke several laws, and we're calling that a mistake. He's severely corrupt, and he's calling that just a small mistake, a misunderstanding. Like, once again, it's fucking cuckold behaviour. Like,
Mistakes,
mental.
but there's a difference between what actually took place and then the media narrative that was constantly being fed from inside cabinet. And I think that's what ran away, and that kind of protracted, prolonged, damaging effect is what ended up making that sort of his premiership, come to its end.
Brain rot,
And
the absolute
unfortunately,
brain
I
rot.
believe one of the contestants in this leadership contest was helping the media in that front.
I'm here to
Brain
judge
rot.
their characters. They are going to offer everything in the book.
Yeah.
And it's a bid market. Well, I'm not in that.
Yeah.
I want to see what they're like as people.
Is it fair to say that
You know what? I don't give a fuck what a politician is like as a person, really. I care about, apart from just being like, just a moral individual who is operating in good faith of this is a public job. I'm doing this for the betterment of the country. Other than that, I don't give a fuck about what they are as people. Like, what the fuck? I don't care if they're atheist, Muslim, Christian, whatever. Straight, bi, cis, not cis. Like, I don't see why any of this is relevant. I don't care if they like football. I don't care if they fucking paint buses. Not like that's a hobby anyone like seriously has. But I don't care anything about them as a person. I only care about their intention and how they plan on doing that. So I was okay with him there up until the point he said that. I don't think that makes a difference.
a party that's been in government for 12 years isn't the establishment?
Yes, absolutely. They failed to tackle the establishment and
They are the fucking establishment, you
the
mong.
institutions who captured Whitehall, and they did have a big overthrow of the establishment on Brexit, but they really haven't followed through on that.
In his head, anti-establishment is Boris Johnson, the Eton-educated Prime Minister. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, the most Tory thing to happen is people's outfits. I mean, just go somewhere and people turn up in pink trousers and like flowery shirts. I mean, that's
Sunglasses
pretty Tory,
and dumb
The
fucking
Labour Party
hairstyles.
lost its support in the north of England due to first Brexit and secondly an obsession with identity politics.
Truss was loyal to Boris Johnson.
So, kind of true. North East, in particular, voted Brexit. Ooh, just knocked my camera all over the place there. Voted Brexit quite heavily, and I won't get into why that was a mistake at the time, but nevertheless, it's happened. The thing is, now that that's happened, the North East has no reason to vote Conservative, because Conservatives have used the freedom they've had from Brexit to absolutely fucking destroy the country, and the ones who lose out on that are the working class. Guess where working classes are concentrated in this country? The North East. So they have no reason to vote Conservative anymore, really. This is where the wokeism comes in. They can only scare the working classes into saying there's a boogeyman coming for them. And that was always immigrants, which they'll continue doing, but they can't really say that anymore because the whole thing about Brexit was they were promising to sort that out. So by going, oh, immigrants are still coming, they mean like, oh, we didn't actually sort it out. Oh, shame, we tricked you. So they can't really say immigrants too much. They have to go for like sort of woke politics now, which once again just means stuff I don't like, stuff I can't say out loud. That's all it means. But it's worked because unfortunately there's a lack of critical thinking in this country, and concentrating on working classes, unfortunately, is just a thing where the mob in May, the mob with their groupthink, routinely fall for the media and what the Conservatives push. The Conservatives are just better at lying and pushing fantasy on people. It's just the reality. Brexit was a fantasy that they pushed and a lie they pushed. It worked. Wokeism currently is a fantasy and a lie they're pushing, and it's working on certain people. And I don't know what you do about that. We can keep communicating how bullshit this is, but other than that, I think the only recourse is to let the Conservatives hang themselves, which they are currently doing. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, I'm afraid, for the North East.
I was a huge Boris Johnson fan, particularly at the last local election. I think he deserves a huge amount of loyalty for what he achieved.
She fuck all, by the way, ruined the country.
Principally because of her loyalty, but also because of her economic package.
What would you be asking?
Planning. One of the big problems in this part of the world is the fact that developers are walking all over our local councils because there's no local plan in place, particularly just north of Eastbourne. And the Conservative controlled council has been arguing with ministers that the target of houses they require to be built is too high. And consequently, local people are voting to vote Greens and Lib Dems in and vote Conservatives out because they believe the Conservatives are supporting this growth in housing. So
I'm guessing he's a landlord. I'm just going to guess.
And Liz Truss has said publicly that she wants to change the top-down numbers of houses being built. So I want to hopefully ask a question or hear a bit more about that.
The biggest issue has got to be how to tackle inflation and drive the economy forward as we recover from COVID. 100%, that's the biggest issue, yeah.
I agree with him.
Do you trust either of them to take that on?
Do you know, I actually trust them both. And this is the interesting thing for me. And the reason why I think I'm probably going to end up supporting Liz is because I trust her more optimistic view. I trust the fact that she wants to cut taxation in order to help grow the economy. And because I trust them both, that's why I'm going to choose the more optimistic version of the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so
right, so I've got to come in on that. Now, once again, I literally just said it. Conservatives are just better at pushing lies and fantasy on people, and there's no better example of this than the whole how Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss have both want to deal with the raising cost of living. The reality is, both of them are kind of in the same boat. They believe in trickle-down economics, which is, once again, one of the biggest lies ever pushed on people. They believe in their different ways that if they give more money to the people at the top of society, that will help the rest. The problem is, how was inflation caused in the first place? It was caused through unregulated profiteering. Something we're currently seeing with energy bills and with petrol prices. It's companies being fed taxpayer money, paying less tax, making customers pay more, because remember, there's no choice. You have to pay for electricity. Not nationalise or anything, because that would be silly, wouldn't it? Nationalising energy. But so they have no choice of paying it. We're paying more, and as a result, the energy companies and the petrol companies are making more profit than ever. Tell me how it's possible in a cost of living crisis, in a time where inflation's high and everyone's suffering apparently, that these companies can make more profit. The only explanation of that is profiteering. They are ensuring that the very top of the country aren't affected by the cost of living changes and the inflation changes. Now that's the problem. Rishi Sunak believes the way forward is to tax more, but without damaging the bottom lines, which means everyone suffers except for the top. And Liz Truss will say she wants to cut taxes But that's not cut taxes for everyone. That's cut taxes for the top. So they're paying less. So once again, same thing. They have more money. We are still stuck. The cost profiteering is going to continue under both systems. Cost of living gets worse, lads. We suffer. Yay! What will happen when the cost of living continues to go up, even under Liz Truss? Because Liz Truss is probably going to win at this point. When the cost of living goes up, they will find a new excuse. They'll keep doing this, and they'll keep doing it until someone goes, oh, we'd better vote for the other ones now. And at that point, unfortunately, Labour have moved so far centre, when they get into power, they will proceed to do fuck all about it. They may halt the change in costs, they may bring it to a pause, but they won't meaningfully change anything. They won't rewind the clock or anything. They won't undo any damage. It'll just continue to be the existence. So our existence currently is high energy bills, high petrol prices, these companies profiteering like there's no tomorrow. That'll continue under Labour as it currently stands. That'll continue under Labour with maybe some slight changes. They may change some things, but it won't make a meaningful difference. So in 5 years after they're elected, whenever that is, whether that's the next election or the election after, 5 years after that, people will be going to and this will be the Conservative line, people will be going to the voting booths going, well, life sucked, then Labour got in, and life continued to suck. So what was the point in voting them? That'll be the Conservative line. And they'll get into power eventually. This is the death cycle Britain's on. It's Conservatives ruin the country. Labour comes in, changes nothing. People go, well, the country's still ruined. I'll vote Conservative again. And then they'll ruin the country even more. Labour only exists as a stopgap in which the damage is paused for a bit. There need to be a circuit breaker. You need someone in there to actually bring in progressivism again. That's what the country's missing. You need a progressive politician. I don't care what side they come from. You need someone who actually goes, right, let's start progressive tax. Let's actually tax the rich. Let's redistribute wealth a little bit. And that doesn't mean like the whole socialist, let's take everyone's money and redistribute it equally. It means going, you're benefiting a great deal from this society. You're making money hand over fist here because of the current system. Give us a little bit of that back and we'll put it where it's needed. You'll continue to be a rich fucker. Your life won't suffer. But everyone else will be better off. And that comes with so many other positive changes, like increased productivity, for example, increased happiness. All this stuff that we should want for a country, but we'll still have, like, there won't be any other meaningful change other than that. Like, that's at least better, isn't it? Not the end of the problems, but that's better. But the Conservatives don't want that. But Conservatives would just call me woke for saying that, funnily enough. But yeah, that's the current situation. Oh.
Boris wasn't really captured, he just wasn't interested in detail. And then he lost his nerve completely over COVID. And Sage is another example of something that needs massive reform so that we don't have the ridiculous nonsense of lockdown again. And lockdown, without question, killed more people than it saved.
Citation needed, mate. Citation needed.
Has sworn never to introduce lockdown again.
Fag end of this idea that Tories are all posh people or they don't understand normality, but that's not my experience of the party.
I think
my experience of you
about the green levy. That's got to be looked at again. That's ridiculous.
Why?
That's penalising people. Well, in China, they built. How often are they building a coal-fired power station? Is it one a week at the moment?
We are not China. We cannot control China. We can't look at China and go, well, if they're doing it, it's okay for us to do it. Fuck off.
In China, it's some sort of silly statistic like that. Well,
hasn't looked into it, of course.
Looking at old times, why should we have to suffer?
I refuse to be lectured by someone who doesn't even have a fucking tie on straight. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? He's got fucking the sunglasses of video killed the radio star. Like, what the fuck? Like, how am I supposed to take him seriously?
So, there you go.
I think
right wing.
I think I might know the answer to this question. BP recorded record profits this week. Would you support a windfall tax on them?
No.
Of course he wouldn't.
Because you need
Probably on
profits
shares.
to invest, and we need BP to go and get those oil wells in the
We don't need to invest in fossil fuels anymore. It's running out. It won't be there in a few decades. For fuck's sake, you need to invest in green energy. Like, this is all... It's like fucking object permanence. Like, it's mental.
North Sea that are not producing at the moment. The only reason they've made
This is
massive
like...
profit-
Go back and watch my video on Farage when he did an interview like this, where he's just like, oh, climate change is a thing, right? And we're running out of fossil fuels, and it's going, and prices are going up because of we're running out of fossil fuels and stuff, and the climate's getting worse because we keep using fossil fuels and stuff. You know what I think the solution is? More fossil fuels. It's mental. Like, why? It's, once again, it's like speaking to children.
It's just because the oil price has gone through the roof. So no, it's a false.
Why has oil prices gone through the
With
roof?
this, one
Because
thing I do
we don't
hope
have
to
any
see is
fucking
that
oil.
This leadership contest comes to an end, everyone comes back together. Because there's definitely more that unites us than divides us. That's very true. And there are clear differences between Conservatives and people that support the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats. And it's important that the electorate in 2 years' time gets a very clear, defined picture of those differences. So I sincerely hope that whatever the outcome,
Yeah, the differences is, I won't say by party, because each party clearly has their factions in that no longer disagree politically but disagree just morally. The difference is progressive people care about people and they want people's lives to be better. Conservative voters believe deep down that the people at the bottom need to have miserable lives, and the people at the top, because it's a pyramid, there has to be very few people at the top, they get all the wealth and money. That's what they believe. That's the difference. That's the difference. If you're voting for Conservatives, you believe, or you are, even if you don't believe this, sorry if this is bad news, even if you don't believe this is what you are supporting, by voting for the Conservative Party, you are supporting outright the existence of a social hierarchy where the people at the bottom, which likely includes yourself, have to have shit lives. And you cannot be trusted with any additional income. You can't be trusted to have any of your own spending power, your own freedom. That needs to be given just to the people at the top, because they're the only ones with the ability to actually use it properly. That's what voting for the Conservative Party is a vote for.
this leadership election, everyone can rally around the leader.
Most Tories know that,
What
by
would it
the way.
take for you to vote Labour ever?
The Conservative Party to abandon its core principles, its policies to be completely disaligned with my beliefs, and then the Labour Party to fundamentally change its core belief and have a credible leader who I believe could implement them.
And you know that's the problem, because like when Keir Starmer comes in, and what Labour people will say about Keir Starmer is his move to the centre right is going to bring over more Conservatives. I don't want the fucking Conservatives vote. I really fucking don't. Like, if the only way to get their vote is to go, right, I'm going to fundamentally change the beliefs so the people at the bottom need to have a shit life and you need to be safeguarded because you're not from the bottom. Well, all you have there is another Conservative Party, unfortunately. This is the problem. This is why people criticise Keir Starmer. He's had a chance over the last few weeks to side with striking workers, and he hasn't. He's had the opportunity to say over the last few weeks anything at all about energy companies or gas companies, petrol companies, or the cost of living crisis, and he's remained silent. He's given nothing in regards to policy on this. So the only thing I can take from that, the only conclusion to that, unfortunately, is, well, there's two things actually. One, he doesn't intend to change any of them. Two, he hasn't decided if he needs to change any of them for the vote yet. And if he finds out that he needs Conservative voters to get into power, and those Conservative voters don't want him to do anything about it, he will not do anything about it because they're more important. And this is the thing. Keir Starmer and the Labour Party at the moment is sort of taken for granted that the left wing that they have tried to purge from the party and have told, go fuck yourselves, we don't need you, they're actually taking for granted that those people will actually turn around and still vote Labour on the basis of, well, at least they're not Conservatives. And that's a problem, because even if I personally vote that way, because I probably will, unfortunately, I think I have more freedom under Labour to at least criticise the party and get them to change any path than compared to the Tories. Even if I do that, if anyone turns around and says, well, both parties are the same, I don't see a meaningful difference, I'm not going to vote for either of them, that's Labour's fault. You can't blame the voter then, unfortunately. That's Labour's fault. Especially when they've got an open goal. This is the problem. They've got an open goal and they're doing fuck all with it. Imagine that. The fact that they are only slightly in the lead of the Tories at the moment in terms of opinion polls, when the Tories have run this country in the ground over 12 years, says a lot. Says about how uninspiring they are. But yeah, Tories voting for the next leader. It's going to be an absolute fucking shambles.